During the recording of this podcast, I made a lighthearted jest that Terry Funk wrestled until he was, quote, 98 or something. But after finishing recording and signing off, I saw the unfortunate news that Terry Funk had passed away at the age of 79. I think it's pretty obvious that the intent of the joke was not to insult, but it was a respectful acknowledgement of Terry Funk's career of over 50 years. I thought I would make an editor's note about Terry's death and leave it at that, but I feel like, in the event that another wrestling fan may be listening, I feel like it's not acknowledging the elephant in the room that the next day we shockingly lost Bray Wyatt at only 36. And while it's a shame to lose a wrestling legend like Terry Funk, it's heartbreaking to see someone who was so creative and whose best work may have easily still been ahead of him pass away so young. So since I rarely get to acknowledge wrestling on the show, I thought I'd show respect to these two legends and just sort of acknowledge that, we lost someone who, with Terry Funk, worked a career that began in the territories prior to WWF even existing and feuded with Hulk Hogan in the 80s and was able to recreate himself as a hardcore wrestler in the 90s who fought Mick Foley as Cactus Jack in matches with flaming branding irons, and also someone as creative and well-liked as Bray Wyatt. One other note is that I know that this episode is full of minor inaccuracies, but I would appreciate it if, much like wrestling, you either don't let the facts get in the way of the storytelling, or angrily correct us in the comments, because it's good for engagements. Please like, comment, subscribe. All that good, all the shit. Do the shit.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah, real quick, just for syncing purposes, would you recite the Gettysburg Address?
Yeah, hold on, give me a second. I don't have it all memorized anymore. I did memorize it in high school, though, actually. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are alright, you get the point. I'm not actually going to read the whole
Alright, that was pretty good, but now would you do it like a Hulk Hogan promo?
I'm not good at my impressions, and you're asking me to do Hulk Hogan, which I'm not sure I've ever done a Hulk. Alright, we're going to go there. 77 years ago, our brothers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all are created equal. Except now for men, I want you to censor it as if I said a racial slur.
That all brothers are created equal.
No, because see, when you say it like that, it sounds like you're being racist, and I'm not trying to do this.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeff, and welcome to the Sound Judgement podcast,
where every episode we'll be discussing all of the important musical topics, from reviews to which member of Motley Crue is the most vile.
I'm gonna judge the officials. I'm gonna judge all the judges. It's gonna take you people years to recover from all my opinions.
Oh, yeah! It's Macho Man Randy Savage here with Hulk Hogan, brother, and we're the Mega Powers, and we're getting here to call out Mega Ran. Yeah!
I was just gonna say, Chris, why are we talking about Hulk Hogan? Oh, that's right, because we listened to an album about wrestling.
We're talking about Hulk Hogan, brother, because wrestling is real and people are fake.
Chris, what did we listen to?
Oh, we listened to an album called Wrestling is Real, People Are Fake by Mega Ran.
By Mega Ran. Now, I did ask you when I gave you this, because you had a reaction that made me think, like, oh, you have no clue what this is, probably. Which, actually, I was a little surprised at. So I'm assuming you do not know who Mega Ran is, or at least you didn't previously.
Upon further inspection, I've heard some of his stuff, and I just wasn't aware of it. I just didn't put the pieces together.
Yeah,
I had a few, that was that guy moments when, looking through his discography.
Yeah, okay.
Some for better, some for worse, but we'll get into that.
Okay, so real quick, Mega Ran is the stage name for Raheem Jarbo. He's a rapper, DJ, producer, deal. From Philadelphia. I just realized that.
Wow.
Our recording session tonight is all people from Philadelphia. That's fun.
Awesome. We're going to talk about Will Smith next.
Yeah, we should.
Parents just don't understand.
I hate the fact that might be relevant in a little bit here, actually. Anyway, he was a teacher. He used to work in special education. He then moved to teaching middle school, and then he obviously eventually quit to become a full-time musician and performer. He is mostly known for doing what is called nerdcore, which is a subgenre of hip-hop mostly about nerd culture things.
Oh, what a surprise.
The term was coined by MC Frontalot. Most likely, I have heard some people say that the term is older than that, but I'm not finding any actual proof. And obviously, it's not most people who do nerdcore, it is not all they do. They're usually just like a hip-hop artist who periodically is not afraid to be like, no, I'm gonna like talk about video games and shit because it's fun and this is what I like. Mega Ran is one of them. The name Mega Ran is obviously sort of a spin-off of Mega Man, the video game series, which he has released entire albums dedicated to.
Well, they're gonna have to put something on the shelf next to our concept album about Minions.
We'll get there. So I will have to say, my introduction to Mega Ran was fantastic. I was introduced to this man when I was driving for Uber years ago. Would have been 2015, 2016, whatever. I pick up 3 people in their probably early 20s. One of which was a young black man who he said like, hey, we're heading here. We're going to a concert. I was like, okay, cool. Who are you guys going to go see? And I don't remember who else was on the bill that night, but it was literally a nerdcore concert. And I recognized the other names, whether it was like MC Chris or whomever. It was other names I knew. And he goes, ever hear of Mega Ran? I said, no, I'm not familiar with him. So this guy in my back seat is like, listen, I grew up in the hood. All right, I know what the hood is like. You can listen to Mega Ran, and it doesn't matter that he's rapping about video games. No one in the hood's gonna bat an eye. His beats are dope. And I'm just like, I don't know how to take this, but thank you for the recommendation, and I spent the rest of that night in between passengers listening to Mega Ran. Dude, he is so fun. He is so good. And sir, whoever you were in the backseat of my car that night, like, thank you. I have no clue who you were, but you introduced me to such a cool artist. I am real sad I missed this album releasing a few months ago, actually. I just didn't notice for whatever reason. I caught it because he recently released a single called The Story of Rap, which is just, like, cute and fun as shit. And I was like, it's been a while since I, like, saw what Mega Ran was up to. Let's see what he's doing. And I flipped to his Spotify page. I see he has a new album out. And I'm so mad I missed it. And that's when I pretty much immediately sent it to you. Like, dude, we need to do this because it's so good.
And anytime someone's coming off the top rope, you know, like Randy Savage, I'm a happy guy. I mean, I need more wrestling music, Jeff.
Yeah. Because we've only, as far as I know, ever listened to one album fully dedicated to wrestling. Well, in all fairness, I don't think we ever did it for the podcast. Did we?
No, that
we
was
didn't, like,
way
episode.
before, as far as I know.
Okay,
we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about Mountain Goats.
The Mountain Goats. Yeah. Beat the Champ.
So here's the thing, because I have that in my notes. This is only my second album about wrestling. Although Mega Ran did lie to me when he said raps about wrestling. Thought you'd never see the day. I knew 2 raps about wrestling before I listened to this album. But anyway,
do you mean the ones done by like Hulk Hogan or whatever? Like, didn't he release an album?
Oh, you're right, but I didn't even count Macho Man, Randy Savage's, and Hulk Hogan's rap albums. I didn't even count those.
Oh, what were you thinking?
There's a song called Ric Flair Drip, which I kind of hate, but I also kind of. Do you ever hate a song but think a line is fun and it just gets stuck in your head?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ric Flair Drip, go woo on a bitch.
I mean, yeah, because we actually had this issue not too long ago. We were doing Ben Folds.
Yeah.
In the song Exhausting Lover is the line, it makes me want to say YOLO Nobo. Yeah. And I hate it so much, but it's fun, and I can't stop listening to it, and I think of it now way too often. So I know exactly what you mean.
There are times when I don't even like the song, and I just can't stop thinking, Ric Flair Drip, go woo on a bitch.
That's so funny.
And then there's another one where it's all in Spanish, so I don't know what he's saying, but he just keeps going, Booker T. Booker T.
Booker T?
Yeah,
okay.
Booker T, the wrestler.
Oh my god. Okay.
So and then at one point it plays like the part of the Booker T's music, so it is confirmed to be about the wrestler and not like a historical figure named Booker T.
Okay.
But anyways, the album is called Wrestling is Real, People Are Fake, which is a quote that, as far as I know, is best associated with a wrestler named Ken Anderson, but I've also heard it credited to Jake the Snake Roberts and several other wrestlers, and I imagine it's just one of those things that people say in the back, and it's been said in the industry for years. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. See, here I saw it attributed just to one person. I was unaware that it actually has like a more of a history than that.
Yeah, well, I know Ken Anderson had shirts that said it. Ken Kennedy when he was in WWF. There's actually, I think, a girl wrestler who has like another shirt with that saying on it now. I know, kind of infamously, Jake the Snake Roberts said it in one of the wrestling documentaries. I think it was like Dark Side of the Ring, which is if you're interested in like the drama behind things, like if you want to hear about like the dark side of like a biography or something, that's a really interesting series. They have ones about like Chris Benoit, the death of Owen Hart, stuff like that.
Oh, because everyone needs more stories about Chris Benoit. As if that story hasn't been told a million times.
But there's other stuff too. There's also like the plane ride from hell, which was an infam. I'll cover this real quick because now I'm getting into nerd shit. But
oh no, you're fine. Go for it. That's why we're here.
Okay. But it's this plane ride from England to America where they boarded everyone on the plane, and then there were delays. And while there were these delays, the wrestlers just kept requesting more alcohol because they were all going through it. They're these 400-pound dudes like drinking their weight in wine and shit, right? So they keep bringing on alcohol carts, and they're like, they had one of the wait staff on, like one of the stewardesses. And she was like, now, normally for anyone else, we would have, cut these people off before we even got in the air. But, there was so much money in, like, the Vince McMahon machine that we just keep bringing on these alcohol, trays. But by the time they fly, I think they were delayed 7 hours or something like that of just these people drinking. And then they get up in the air and just all hell breaks loose. Like someone falls asleep and someone else shaves their head and they get into like a physical altercation and like someone's like threatening to open the emergency exit. Ric Flair's shit-faced and he's helicoptering his dick to the stewardess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's referred to as the plane ride from hell. And like after that, I think that they banned alcohol on any international flight that WWE
as they
did.
should.
Yeah.
Obviously, as they should.
Yeah, there were like lawsuits coming out of it and all kinds of shit.
Well then.
Anyway.
Okay, so I guess that clears that up. That one of us has a clue about wrestling and the other one doesn't. So
yeah, so here, okay, so going back to my point about Beat the Champ, is that is an album that is stories about wrestlers that you don't necessarily need to be a wrestling fan to understand and appreciate and enjoy.
That is true.
This album, it is kind of hard for me to believe that anyone who doesn't like wrestling is gonna get much out of it, because the opening line is, "It's still real to me, damn it," which is like an infamous quote from like an online viral wrestling meme. And the rest of the album is very much the same tone of just wrestling inside references and jokes.
Okay, I was kind of hoping you were going to say that, because there's a lot of moments, and by that I mean it's almost constant, where I had this feeling of, I bet what he just said is funny if I had a clue what he was talking about.
Yeah, and then there's me, who, on the other hand, I read through the lyrics on his SoundCloud page. Not SoundCloud. What is it these days?
Bandcamp?
On his Bandcamp page. And
yeah,
I'm sitting there.
What year is it?
I know, I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm looking at the lyrics on his Bandcamp page, and I like want to start correcting them, because it's like, no, his name's Lonnie Poffo, not Lenny, bruh.
Okay, so I was not aware there were ever any inaccuracies, because I don't know enough about any of this.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm ready. You remember that time we did that Che Dorval album? We were like, she did not write these lyrics up herself. There's no way that
I don't remember thinking that. What do you mean? Oh, like on her website.
Yeah, on her website.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Her website literally has like very obviously the wrong words in some of her own lyrics. Like, it's obvious that it was just like some intern who did it.
Yeah, it is obvious that a wrestling fan wrote the words to this album, and someone who did not know what was going on translated them to the lyrics on Bandcamp.
Oh, that's. I mean, I don't know who. I don't know how the lyrics on Bandcamp work. It is very possible that it's just like submitted by somebody else. I'll be honest. I just pull up the lyrics on Genius.com. if I'm ever looking at lyrics.
Well, those are wrong too because they're the same ones.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Because the ones on
so
Genius were wrong, so I was like, these aren't correct, and I was seeking out like an official site, and I looked up Bandcamp, and like, these are the same ones. And just, there's just certain things where, like, if you're nerding out about this, you're not going to get Lanny Popo's name wrong. He's Macho Man's brother, for the record.
Okay. Well, then you can blame whoever Red Sky with 2 Y's is, because looking at Genius.com, he's the one who submitted almost all the lyrics.
My theory is that he just copy-pasted them off of the Bandcamp, though.
Or he put them on Bandcamp. I have no idea. Like I said, I don't actually know how Bandcamp lyrics work. I don't know if those are official or not. Either way, interesting take. Interesting call. I would not have caught any of that. Because again, I don't really know the references and the stories here, but I feel like that means I need to start with, there's a song on here called Lingo, which is just him like explaining different terms used in wrestling, and I have to say I was very excited and proud of myself that when he opens with the phrase, a good guy is the baby face and the villain is the heel, I was very excited that I already knew what a heel was.
Yeah. I taught you a couple things.
You did. There were actually a few phrases in here that I'm like, Chris taught me this. I know what this means. I've heard these phrases before. I understood that line.
Yeah. I mean, the Lingo is just an educational song if I ever heard one.
It really is. Like, it is like Schoolhouse Rock levels of, like, here's a word, here's what it is.
They need to teach this one to children alongside Schoolhouse Rock. Like, Bill on Capitol Hill and the Lingo by Mega Ran.
So, fun story. I think some of his music is actually used in a couple universities, although I'm assuming this isn't one of them.
That's incredible.
But from what I understand, like, he went to Penn State. So, like, Penn State, I know, uses some of his music in some context.
That's actually
this
cool.
Is one of those, like, I've heard it like through like word of mouth kind of thing, from like, it is used in the music department. Now I don't know in what context,
right,
but I know that like it's one of those deals of like, oh yeah, he was a student here, and like now there's professors who like use him as an example for things.
Yeah.
I get the feeling his song teaching wrestling lingo is probably not in any curriculum, but still it's fun to think it. Okay, so I don't want to dig into this track by track necessarily. Although, again, this wasn't a super long album. We have another,
it's actually pretty short.
half hour long album. Anything here that stood out to you? Is there anywhere in particular you want to start?
I think what stood out to me is how you kind of referenced the person who showed it to you said you could play this in the hood and no one would bat an eye.
Yeah, just sort of referring to like the fact that his beats don't make it sound like he's joking. Like it sounds like really serious music.
Yeah, his flow and his beats are really good.
Yeah, he's legitimate. He's pretty cool. I really love his style. When
I listen to rap, like this kind of like 90s sounding beat and flow are the kind of stuff that I'm...
Yeah, it's like very authentic feeling. It's I mean, well, because obviously it is. Like he's very serious and he's very good at what he does. It's just he happens to not be afraid to be like, no, I'm going to release an album about wrestling because it's fun. Or like, again, I'm going to release multiple albums talking about Mega Man because screw it, why not?
Well, this is like his 4th album about wrestling or something from what I saw, right?
Something like that. I do not know his full discography back to front, so I couldn't say specifically. I know he has quite a handful of albums and a lot of other unrelated singles and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I won't get into it track by track, but I'll talk about some of the highlights. I think it starts off very strong with "Wrestling is Real."
Okay.
This had to use more wrestling words because I can do that this week. I was marking out to a lot of this.
What? Okay, now explain that one.
Marking out means that you so in a carnival, if someone is the person that you're trying to get, like, because a lot of wrestling is based on carny terms because wrestling started in the carnivals.
Oh, is that actually where a lot of the phrases came from?
Yes. So wrestling was a carnival sideshow to start with. It basically was like carnival people figured out, you can make a lot of money putting on a wrestling show and just fixing the end and like kind of like holding back so you don't hurt each other. Wrestling ultimately, Jeff, is, when you go to the Renaissance Festival and they do the joust, but they're not trying to actually kill each other. They're just like doing like a theatrical joust. That's wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They're even cutting promos towards each other in between. That's how it started, was like a carnival sideshow thing, and they use a lot of carnival lingo, and that's where a lot of this comes from. So a mark is like when someone is like, I'm gonna, rip this person off at my booth, right? Then you're the mark.
Okay.
So marking out means that you got the reaction that they wanted from you. You freaked out. You got excited. You fanboyed. So, like when he says, "No, I'm sorry, they ain't gonna work for me, brother." That's like an infamous Hulk Hogan quote. I forget who exactly was talking about it, but they were discussing about the fact that when Hulk Hogan was in WCW, he had a lot of creative control in his contract because he was, one of the top guys there. Am I using words that make sense?
Yeah.
So he had a lot of power there, and they were gonna give the belt to someone, and Hulk Hogan was gonna lose, and he was like, "That don't work for me, brother. That's not gonna work for me, brother." And so it's kind of become a joke in the wrestling community that, that ain't gonna work for me, brother. So it's fun to hear that in some very legitimate sounding rap. That's
awesome. That's actually really funny because again, I listened to this and I'm like, so the song "Wrestling is Real." There's a lot of names that I know, but I couldn't tell you anything about them. I'm the Shawn Michaels of the song cycle. I know Shawn Michaels is a wrestler,
considered one of the best of his era.
I couldn't say a thing else about him.
Yeah, I get it all. I'm like, so when it says we like Terry Funk, homie, we ain't never gonna quit. That guy wrestled till he was like 98 or some shit.
Yeah, see, that's a reference I was not gonna understand. So.
Right. So, but yeah, just that kind of thing. Like Jeff Jarrett getting a bag in every promotion because he's been fired and rehired by every other company. Yeah, just like that kind of thing.
That's funny.
Yeah, that one I really liked. Sunset Flip with Austin Creed, known on TV as Xavier Woods in WWE. I was very surprised to. I don't know if Xavier Woods or Austin Creed raps outside of this, but he was pretty good.
He is pretty good. This is my highlight track on this album.
Yeah.
I love this track. So Sunset Flip is basically Mega Ran calls up his buddy Austin Creed, like, "Hey, come hang out." Austin Creed gets there, and Mega Ran's like, "Listen, you're gonna teach me how to be a wrestler because I want to beat people up." And it's the whole song of back and forth where Austin Creed is like, "Dude, no, you're not. Like, you're gonna hurt yourself. It's not that simple. You can't just do this." And Mega Ran basically goes, No, I want to do this. It's gonna be fun." And it's just this silly, stupid back and forth. You know what this is? This is basically Glass Joe's title fight by Starbomb.
Yeah.
But it's done by real people. Oh man, this song is so fun. This is the highlight for me. This is my favorite track on the album.
So, and Austin Creed is interesting too. Because you go back to that first track, it references Up, Up, Down, Down, which is actually Austin Creed's gaming show.
Oh, okay.
What he does is he has, a lot of times, 4 pro wrestlers or 2 or 3 pro wrestlers compete in video games as like a side thing on YouTube for the WWE. And that's his show, is Up, Up, Down, Down.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
So here I thought that was just like a video game reference as a thing he does. I was not aware that was a reference to something even more. Because, I mean, Up, Up, Down, Down is the start to a
Konami code.
Very famous is the Konami code, which is a very famous, entered on the controller password to old video games made by the company Konami. It's up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. And in a lot of games they made, it's, extra lives or invincibility or whatever. To the point where it's become memeified, where there was a period of time where you could, on your keyboard, go to Google and hit up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, enter, and it would, do something.
Yeah.
Roku TVs for a while had a thing where if you hit up, up, down, down, left, right, okay, it would do something, It's very memeified. So I was unaware there was, a second layer to that reference.
Yeah, Xavier Woods is one of those guys who I think, past the wrestling, you would have a lot of fun with.
Okay.
He's part of a tag team called the New Day.
Okay.
And they're constantly coming out in, nerd culture shit.
Yeah,
their ring gear,
cool.
Their ring gear will be stylized like the Green Ranger.
My buddy has shown me stuff about them. I was unaware.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember who they were.
Yeah, they're called the New Day. He comes out. They have I believe either Goku or Vegeta ring gear. They have I think they had White Ranger ones made after he died. Am I correct in saying he's the one who passed away, White Ranger?
Yeah. Oh, the actor. Yes. Yes. Well, he was green and then white. And I hate the fact that you're saying that, and now I'm drawing a blank on his name. I can picture him. I've met the man. Jason David Frank.
Jason David Frank, yes. This was their tag team costume for a while.
Oh, that's fun as shit.
Isn't
I
that
love
super
this.
cool?
I love them. Oh my god.
Like I said, I think you'd have a lot of fun with them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then my other one was I really liked Goodbye to the Bad Guy.
Goodbye to the Bad Guy is just a really great sounding one. I mean, I don't know. Was there anything in particular? Like, why is that one that stood out to you?
Oh, it's about Scott Hall. I just think it's a really beautiful tribute to this wrestler that this guy liked. And
okay, who is Scott Hall?
Scott Hall is a wrestler named he that's his real name, and he was known for a while as Razor Ramon. He is known for being in a group called The Clique, which consisted of Shawn Michaels, Triple H, himself, and a guy named X-Pac, and they have a pretty important place in wrestling history because Scott Hall was the guy who was first released from WWE, at WWF at the time, to show up on the competition, WCW, and to do it on the same night because at the time WCW was live and Raw was pre-taped.
Oh, okay.
So he shows up and he kicks off a storyline that you've probably heard of. It's called the NWO storyline.
Yes, I'm aware of this.
And he's the first person to come in, and he just kind of goes in. He comes in the ring through the crowd, and it was just like something no one had ever seen before, right? He comes in through the crowd, he grabs a microphone, and he says,
"You people, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Are we going to get security here?
Me, I go wherever I want, whenever I want.
Listen, we need to get somebody called.
And where, oh where, is Scheme Gene? 'Cause I got a scoop for you. I got a challenge for him, for Billionaire Ted, for the Nacho Man, and for anybody else in WCW. Hey, you want to go to war? You want a war? You're going to get one.
and then after that is when he comes back with Kevin Nash, and they say you don't know who the third person is, and that's when it ends up being Hulk Hogan when he finally turns heel.
Oh, okay.
So he set up one of the most popular storylines in wrestling history, and also this line that he says at the end was actually Scott Hall's Hall of Fame induction speech.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Okay. I see. I saw it here again. I saw there was a quote. I did Google the quote to see like what the hell it's from, but again, I have no other context.
Yeah, that was his Hall of Fame speech, and a lot of people were passing it around as a eulogy after he died. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay.
Because, oh, I'm sorry, you might want context for the bad guy thing. That was like his nickname. He would say stuff like, "Another win for the bad guys," stuff like that.
Everybody say hello to the bad guy. Razor Ramon. The happiest guy in the WWF. Me, I come from the gutter, and look at me now. My name in lights, dripping in gold, and oozing machismo.
Oh, okay.
Because he played a villain originally.
Yeah, I kind of caught that. That makes sense.
So that's why we're saying goodbye to the bad guy. He passed away fairly recently. He had, and you might be, if you see the line, they say he had his demons, show me someone who didn't, or whatever. He had a lifelong battle with alcoholism there were times where
Okay.
like he was unable to perform because he had such issues with alcohol, and there's like a whole documentary about getting him clean and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Damn. All right.
Yeah, Scott Hall was it was very sad to like kind of see what became of him towards the end.
Okay.
He even though he was clean, he just looked rough. So here you got him in his youth. He's looking, Vince McMahon decided that he looked like vaguely Puerto Rican, and that's why they gave him a goofy accent and told him to act like Scarface.
Seriously?
Yeah, Vince McMahon's kind of a piece of shit.
Vince McMahon sucks. Yeah, all right.
Here he is at the Hall of Fame induction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here he
All
is
right.
towards the end. It was just very rough to watch him get
Yeah, okay. You can see him not looking great as it goes on. Gotcha.
And there's like years where it's just like he tries to wrestle and it's just miserable to watch because he's just like so out of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's also
Okay.
disgusting. They one time made his alcoholism a storyline in WCW.
Oh, fuck that. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Man, see, it's stuff like that makes me like have a hard time getting into this.
I
Yeah,
understand.
That's gross.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, that's sad. Other highlight track for me then. I'm just gonna totally change this here.
Cool.
Track called Better Than Whatever You Like,
That was my next one.
which is such a fun song. This is such a great song. This beat is the most chill thing I think I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just a song about, like, it's listing just a bunch of things that have happened in wrestling and basically saying, whatever your form of entertainment is, no, wrestling's better. Wrestling has more stuff.
Yeah.
Wrestling's cool. That's all it is. I mean, again, like, I'm sure this is just full of references that are specific events. I don't know, and it doesn't matter because the way he describes them, it begins with, I watched a dude get thrown off a cage and come back and wrestle the very next day.
Well, you saw
I
that
don't
too. That was
need
Mick Foley.
I'll say, I don't need to know who that is, although I was just going to say, I think I know who this is referring to. I was going to say, I think that's Mick Foley. But, like, I don't need to know who that is. He said the thing. His 2 sentences, he explained what it's about. I get it. You're fine. We're done. I get the point.
Actually, even crazier, he wrestled again that night. He wrestled twice.
That's because Mick Foley is genuinely insane.
Love that guy.
In the best way possible, because he's also Santa Claus, and that's just, like, my favorite thing ever.
I love that he was, like, known for brutality, and now he's Santa.
And now he's Santa, and just, like, how much he looks... Oh, my God. What is the name of that documentary? There's a documentary about Santa Clauses, and he's one of them. And there's just a scene where he is just, like... You can just see how much awe is in his face at, like, this other man who has been being Santa Claus longer. And it is just, like, the cutest thing. Seeing Mick Foley, like, the longing in his eyes. He's like, I want to be as good of a Santa Claus as this guy. And it's just incredible.
It's called I Am Santa Claus.
That's it. I was gonna say, it has a really generic name. Mick Foley. You're an interesting dude. I love him.
He's a lot of fun.
But no, this is such a great track. This is right behind the Sunset Flip for me. But this is the big thing for this is just like, it's just so chill. And it's just a dude geeking out about how much he loves
stuff
the
he
thing.
likes.
And I'm all on board for that. I will always take
Absolutely. Even though he didn't have to remind me of the time the 85-year-old woman gave birth to a hand.
Okay, so that is actually what he's saying. That's a line that I don't really understand what we're talking about. That sounds gross. Please explain.
Jeff, there's a line in this song where it says, and every time I think I can't watch it any longer, something happens to make my fandom get stronger. That was a moment where I was thinking I couldn't watch it any longer. I don't really know what was going on right there. I remember Mae Young gave birth to a hand, and it's just kind of...
A woman gave birth to a hand. That's just like the opening to the second verse, and I'm just like, I don't really want to know what that means, do I? I was afraid to Google it. Yeah, so there's just a woman who was convulsing, and now they're like, oh, wait, no, she's in labor. And yeah, now she's like backstage giving birth. And do they just like pull a hand out of her? Is that what this is? Oh, good, she's smoking a cigar. And yeah, she just, okay, I was a better person before seeing this. All right, anyway.
There's another line in this song, Jeff, that says, "You had to be there, you wouldn't understand. Wait, I was there, and I still don't understand."
I caught that. I have no clue if he was thinking about anything in particular, but it made me laugh, and I loved it.
There's a few moments in wrestling that are just like that, you know? Vince McMahon has some very strange ideas. It's, again, there's some... Here's the thing, is that I can go back and watch, like, some promos, and it's like, man, this is honestly some really fucking entertaining television. Whether it's, high art or anything is, like, up for debate.
Doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be high art.
Yeah, but this is just bad. But, like, hold on, let me just fucking send you, like, a random thing here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel like I shouldn't have recommended this album. Now it's a wrestling lesson.
Yeah, this is a wrestling podcast now.
Okay.
It's just this interview with Don Morocco. It's just a nice, normal interview with Don Morocco.
Why do I get the feeling it's not an interview with Don Morocco?
It is an interview with Don Morocco.
It's not a nice interview.
Don Morocco, he's a great guy. He kind of sounds like Al Pacino and kind of looks like Doc Ock.
Is there anything in particular I'm looking for? How long of this am I watching?
You don't have to watch the whole 3 minutes, just until Don Morocco leaves about 2 minutes in.
It was.
It's so nice to get a chance to chit-chat with you a little bit. What would you like to know about the Magnificent?
I'd like to know, is this a regular part of your training? What kind of a training schedule do you go through?
Well, first of all, above all, you have hard, vigorous workouts, in the water, on the sand, up and down the mountains, running and training. But then you got to watch your diet. At a certain time, every day, every 3-4 hours, you got to eat. As a matter of fact, it's time right now. Would you like a donut?
A donut?
A donut. This is what happens. This is how you maintain championship balance. Have a donut. Have a donut.
No. Donnie, please.
I got donuts all over the place.
I see that.
I happen to like donuts. So this is donuts. You like donuts. You like to be very strong just like me. And then you all...
There, what? Oh, wait. I can't hear a thing. I can't hear a thing.
It's just a little bit of you have to maintain a Spartan's regimen. You have to have a... Go and take a bite.
It's literally a dude asking him a question, and he's just... Because his mouth is literally full of donuts. Alright, see, when you send me stuff like this is, like, stupidly funny. Like, I can appreciate how stupid this is.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I appreciate that.
This isn't high art, but it's fun. It's stupid.
It doesn't need to be high art, though. Like,
but you know what I mean.
High art is stupid. It doesn't need to be high art.
And then at the end, Bobby Heenan shows up and says, "Is that powdered sugar?" Some shit like that. Makes a cocaine reference. Because everyone was doing coke back then.
This was a good time. Yeah. I appreciate this. I guess thanks for the wrestling lessons tonight, Christopher.
Yeah, there will be more of those along the line someday. Do
you have more thoughts on Wrestling Is Real, People Are Fake by Mega Ran?
Before you get another link?
Oh, no!
Is that what you're saying? Can we end this before you get another link?
Before I have to watch another video about wrestling.
I got some great Captain Lou Albano clips for you.
Anyway, I do love Captain Lou. Love Lou.
Have you ever seen a Lou Albano promo?
Yes.
Have you? He's so funny.
I have, actually. I have, and it obviously, it comes from, like, let's state the obvious here. I know Lou Albano because he was Mario in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah.
Right? Like, in my head, that is still the voice of Mario. I know we all do the woohoo, waha, right?
Yeah.
Like the Charles Martinet voice. But in my head, when I think of the Mario voice, I still hear Lou Albano because that's really what I grew up with. Like, child me watched the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. God, I loved that show. But we're not here to talk about Mario. We're here to talk about Mega Ran, and wrestling is real and people are fake.
Well, that's fine, because I think I'm kind of out of thoughts. I really like this album. This was 8 really good tracks. Jeff, this was 8 really cool songs.
Okay, because it's 9 tracks long. What's wrong?
Jeff, this is an album that's about 25 minutes and 8 really good songs. And I'm really glad that it doesn't just end with the theme of a YouTuber that I think is informative but kind of cringe. Anyway, see you next week.
Is that what Wrestling with Regret theme song is?
Yeah, Wrestling with Regret is a kind of a YouTube like wrestling show, and the host Brian Zane, he's not necessarily bad,
Okay.
but it's also kind of like he does the bits sometimes, like the AVGN and like Nostalgia Critic bits where it's like kind of cringe, kind of stupid. But I guess he got Mega Ran to do the theme, and
to do the theme.
I swear to God, since he did it, I've been wondering why the hell is this nerdy white guy getting rappers to like do his theme, because I think it's just it's a mismatch in my mind. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, you got some dissonance going on there. Yeah, I get it. Oh, this straight up looks like if I were the one doing it.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, man, there's a little bit of dissonance between like what we're starting with and what we're going into here for me.
All right, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, so I mean, not that it's bad, but I didn't need to have the Wrestling with Regret theme on.
Well, I mean, it's a thing he did.
But it's a thing he did. Yeah, it's on the album.
I get that it's just a thing you throw at the end there.
We're moving units.
Yeah. All right, Chris. I had a good time with this album. Again, the thing is, I have the huge issue of I'm not a wrestling fan, so there is a lot that went over my head. I do love Mega Ran's style. There's a couple really fun tracks on here. I had a good time. This gets a 3 out of 5. I could not give it higher simply because I don't really understand a lot of the stuff.
You didn't understand the source material.
90% of the sentences in this album are references to things that I don't understand or I don't know. But I had a good time. I will absolutely continue to listen to the Sunset Flip and Better Than Whatever You Like. But I'm probably not going to revisit this unless I'm just like gonna put on Mega Ran and hit shuffle and let it go. I'm not gonna turn any of it off. None of it's bad.
Right.
It's just when it comes to Mega Ran's music, this is not what I'm gonna go to. This is not replacing previous works of his.
As a fan, as someone who watches the product, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
All right.
That's 2 8 out of 10s tonight.
That's 2 out of 10s in this recording session. We're doing good.
Yeah.
All right, Christopher.
And I cut it, but last time you asked me to listen to Richmond North of Richmond. Do you still want to talk about that?
Oh, if you want to. I don't have a ton to say about it. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, we'll see.
And
we'll see what comes of this. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I'll leave it in. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, okay.
Because it kind of hits too close to home with my coworkers bitching on their smoke breaks, but in yeehaw music form.
Okay.
There's been so much talk about this song that I don't know if I have much to add to the conversation.
Okay, but so just to clarify, we're talking about the song Richmond North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony, which is just like, it's just a video on YouTube. It is a dude with a resonator guitar in like his backyard. And it is as country can get, right? And this song has gotten a lot of publicity and a lot of flack. And I was curious where you took this.
Like I said, reminds me of my coworkers bitching on their smoke breaks about, honestly, there's Jeff, I like a good, working man's lament song, right?
Yeah.
A lot of this, there's some sentiment I can get behind, working overtime hours for bullshit pay and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so for the first verse, I'm, more or less with him. But when I do hear a line, I know it's like become like a meme line at this point, but even before I saw the meme, when I hear a line like fat guys eating fudge rounds and like milking welfare, I start like seeing that this conversation's going somewhere where I don't want to see it end up, and I just like walk away from my coworkers at that point.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I get that. I get that. So the line in question, just to get it out there, is God, if you're 5'3" and 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bag of fudge rounds.
Right. Well, and there's another line in there about milking welfare too. Like he specifically says milking welfare, I believe.
Yeah, he does, and I'm actually not seeing that off the top of my head. Oh, yeah, here it is. And those literally just, we got fat folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, in the obese milk and welfare.
I've seen other people go a little deeper, like when he says rich men north of Richmond, they, pose the question, is he talking about politicians or, the Jews? I'd like to think he's railing against politicians. I'd hate to be judgmental. I don't know that there's anything that gives off that vibes, but also they don't always have to. Sometimes with some people with some opinions, and I don't know what his opinions are, but I've heard that he might be a plant for the Republican Party.
Oh, I've absolutely heard he's been a plant. I think it's interesting because, okay, here, oh my God, let me get on a soapbox for a second here, actually. I'm going to be that guy for a second.
Standing on the soapbox.
All right, here's my thing. Now, you can dig it. People have dug into his YouTube channel and found that he's, liked videos of Joe Rogan or whatever. I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Listen to the song. All I want is someone to just listen to the song and tell me what you think. All right? I don't want to dig into this guy's history or who he is or what he does. I don't care. The song itself is a man who is angry at how the world works because it feels unfair and because he's not reaping the benefits that he thought he would, basically, right?
Yeah.
There are a few lines in here that I think are questionable. I am also not super into the, mocking somebody who's fat eating fudge rounds. If you are on, food stamp benefits, those cards cover a lot of stuff because, who the hell is for you? Who's to say that you shouldn't eat whatever the fuck you want? To me, this comes off as a little misguided, but at no point did I listen to this song and think he was some, ultra right-wing whack job. He's just some dude who's angry. I am so genuinely baffled by the entirety of the internet liberal movement, right? These people who are all up in fucking arms over this man, pinpointing a few lines. I'm sorry, the line, rich men north of Richmond, I did not interpret as anything other than Washington, D.C., and I don't care what party's in charge, I don't think that's relevant. He's just being critical.
Right. Like I said, I'm that wasn't my initial assumption. I'm trying not to assume that. Only reason I brought it up is because I found the fucking articles about that before I could find the actual lyrics to the song.
Yeah, because everyone's all up in arms.
Which also says a lot about people complaining about it.
It is insane the publicity this song has gotten from people who hate it. I'm sorry. Let me be that guy for a second here. If you are of the political and social mindset where you are angry about this song, I want you to practice what you're fucking preaching and have a little empathy and listen to this song again from the standpoint of this is just a dude who's angry at the world. And instead of jumping on and brigading and attacking, maybe think for half a fucking second in your life, right? That maybe listening to other people and talking to them and then maybe talking through individual topics and issues is going to be more beneficial than attacking somebody because they said something you disagree with, all right?
Well, Jeff, you can't boil that down to a soundbite.
No, this song is the perfect example of right, you have people on both sides of the political spectrum who will say, don't be calling us snowflakes, you all got shook up over this, right? People on both sides do it.
Right, yeah.
If you're gonna be the bigger person, be the bigger fucking person. I was genuinely insulted when I first found out that people were attacking this song. I have no clue the guy. The guy might be a total piece of shit. Right. I don't know Oliver Anthony. I don't care. I don't know if he's a literal goddamn Nazi and he goes home and he puts on his KKK hood. I don't know. I have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
This song, in and of itself, does nothing wrong. And the fact that people immediately latched onto it because he said a couple things that are kind of dumb, and it went immediately to attacking is insulting to me.
Well, I mean, you say it did nothing wrong, but he rhymed away with away.
I've heard worse. I don't care.
My biggest problem is that even if you take all that away, I still don't think it's a very good song.
It's not a great song, but like I think it's an okay song. I appreciate what the guy does. I like the guy's voice a lot, honestly.
And quite well, I have my issues
for a
with
modern
the
country
voice.
song. I like the guy's voice a lot.
That's fine.
I really
I'm
do.
not arguing with you. I'm just saying, my opinion. I wasn't into his voice. I'm not into the yeehaw voice, but that's fine. That's his voice. He's allowed to have it. This is America. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of analysis for stuff that I didn't, immediately take away from it. I just I just want to listen to it a third time based on its own merits. Like, I just didn't think it was a very good song.
Well, I mean, and that you're allowed. Like, it's a modern simple folky country song. That's fine. Take it or leave it.
I took the majority of it as a good old-fashioned working man's lament. I'm just saying, let's be clear who we hate here. It's the government, not the poor people. I fucking hate the government.
Thank you. Like, and I feel like that's the ultimate message. This is just like, again, I feel like this comes, okay, again, assuming this isn't just like some industry plant thing, which I'm all on board with thinking that very well may be the case. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think the song itself is misguided. I don't think the song itself is like outright like monstrous and people are making it sound like it is. Like, no, if you knew this person in real life, right? Like, if this was like your neighbor,
yeah,
you would do better just by like talking to them, like talking it through instead of immediately jumping on I'm sorry, we don't call it Twitter anymore, but I'm gonna call it Twitter because fuck Elon Musk. You instead of jumping on Twitter and like immediately jumping at this man for a few lines that don't line up perfectly with what you think and believe. No, that's not what anyone did. Everyone fucking attacked it, and it's insane to me.
Yeah.
So now that I'm off my high horse, everyone else needs to get the fuck off of their high horses. Stop talking about this man and let it go away. Chris, what else have you been listening to?
Well, like I said, I'm not going back to pick on the song. I'm just doing a transition. Hating poor people isn't very punk rock of you. I can't overthrow the government to this. Not when there's new Primordial to overthrow the government to.
Oh, okay.
There's a new Primordial song!
All right.
I'm so excited! Oh, I love it. You didn't hear it yet?
No, I have not listened to it. I'm sorry.
Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. Man, I don't know. I just really like their blend of like black metal and folk metal, and they, without getting like really into folky instruments, they do these really Celtic sounding riffs. If you've never listened to Primordial, and it's super fucking cool.
Oh, okay.
What are you okaying for? You listen to them.
I know I have, and I'm drawing a blank on them right now, honestly, because they're not something I listen to frequently.
The Irish black metal band.
Yeah, I remember who they are. They're not something I listen to frequently though. Like I don't have that like immediate frame of reference here.
Weird. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Because I thought we've talked about them enough times that you knew who they were.
I know who they are, but I don't. Never mind.
They're black metal from Ireland, Jeff. They do
yes,
black metal.
Thank you.
And they do a very good job of making their music sound Celtic without getting into folk instruments, which I appreciate.
Which is always nice. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that because I am definitely sick of the whole look at us, we're a metal band, but like we have someone who plays the bagpipes and someone who plays the flute.
Yeah,
like that's
fiddles.
definitely a trope that I am tired of.
Yeah. And I also just think Alan's vocals are very cool. He used to do sort of like a black metal like, yeah, but it's kind of just formed into like this powerful shout. This is very cool. I'll have you listen to him sometime. And then a good bit of Mountain Goats, which isn't odd, but a lot of Goths, which kind of is.
Goths is a weird album for the Mountain Goats, but man, it's such a good album.
It's a very cool album. It's not one I put on in constant rotation, but it's one that when I think of it, I put it on quite a bit.
It's one that I do put on quite a bit. It's one of those ones where, like, if I'm in the mood for the Mountain Goats, it's not the one I put on, but there's, like, a totally separate mood for, I want to listen to Goths, and I'll put it on. Goths is a good one.
Okay, Jeff, what have you been listening to?
Honestly, the biggest thing is I'm on this weird Judas Priest kick.
Oh, hell yeah!
Where I'm working through their discography.
Cool. How far
because
are
God
you?
knows you gotta start with Rockarola.
No.
I mean, so I'm not listening. I'm not doing just like a one full listen each way. I'm like, listening to a good bit of Rocka-Rolla and some Sad Wings of Destiny, and then I'll listen to like Sin After Sin, a little bit of Sane Class, and I'm just like slowly moseying on up. Although the most recent albums I've been listening to at all were Screaming for Vengeance, and I think I listened to a little bit of Defenders of the Faith. Is that right?
Yeah,
Defenders of the Faith. Just like, I don't know, I'm just trying to like familiarize myself with their stuff a little more, because honestly, like there's a few albums I know really well. Like I know Stained Class pretty damn well.
Yeah, great album.
But I'm kind of just like working my way through it, seeing, I don't know, they have such an interesting evolution. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I've just been on a weird Judas Priest kick, to be honest. That's been a lot of what I've listened to.
Cool. What's your favorite so far?
British Steel.
Really?
Which is one that I only, like, I know some of the songs on it, but some of the songs that I'm not otherwise familiar with are really kind of like obviously I know Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight. But, like, it's not one that I listened to a whole lot previously.
Yeah, you didn't know, like, Rapid Fire and Metal Gods.
Yeah. I'm really liking British Steel a lot.
Cool.
And Point of Entry, I think, is a really fun co-album.
Well, you got...
I have no idea if these are popular opinions or not.
Well, you got the weird kind of, like, turbo glam thing coming up next.
Yeah. I'll say, I know Turbo's coming up, and Turbo is one of the albums that I know, again, not a ton, but I know a good bit off of. Yeah. I know a few of those songs, so I know that kind of thing's coming. And, I mean, then, of course, you have, like, Painkiller in the 90s and whatever stuff, so... But yeah, it's an interesting little quest that I'm going on here just to, like, I don't know, I feel like I should know more about Judas Priest than I do, so I'm working on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have popular opinions. I think I'm the one with hipster opinions here. Like, my favorites, like, Stained Class and Sad Wings of Destiny.
Well, Stained Class was my first Judas Priest album.
Same.
Like, that was my introduction to them, because I literally only knew the song Beyond the Realms of Death, and I only knew it because of the rumors of a back-masked message in it. It was literally one of those just like,
wow, that's not even the song.
Here's an it's not the one that was taken to court, but it is one that has rumors of a message in it.
Oh, okay. Because the one that I'm aware of is the one in Better By You, Better Than Me.
Yeah, which is the get the gun, shoot, or whatever.
Yeah.
No, in Beyond the Realms of Death, the very last time he says it, if you reverse it, you can supposedly hear the phrase, "I took my life."
Mm. I like the one where he goes to court for "Do It" or whatever, and Rob Halford's like, "Well, you say the message is do it, but like do what? Mow the lawn?"
Oh, yeah, it's... God, I mean, I was really into backmasking for a short while in high school. I don't really know why. I was just, like, fascinated by the idea. But God, it is so dumb. And anytime anyone genuinely thinks they're hearing, like, unless it was one of those intentional, and they literally just, like, recorded a message, like, they recorded it backwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Funny Farm.
Yeah. Unless it's one of those, like, no, they didn't. This was not intentional. Just shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I
don't know, man. It's one of those things where as long as you're aware that you're, like, doing it for the, like, doing it as, like, a stupid time-wasting time killer, it's one of those things I think is kind of fun. But also, like, it concerns me that people take it seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're just flipping shit around and, like, seeing if it makes words to your ears, that's, like, fine. I don't care. That's kind of fun. I like the idea of what's the Queen song play backwards. It's fun to smoke marijuana.
Yeah, it's Another One Bites the Dust. It's when he's saying literally another one bites the dust over and over again, and it sounds like he's saying it's fun to smoke marijuana. I think it's fun and funny, but like it wasn't intentional and it's just stupid. Please don't take it seriously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's fun as long as you know that you're doing something stupid and it shouldn't be taken seriously. Like how I ironically like reptilians.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Anyway, I've been listening to a good bit of Judas Priest. That's been a huge bit of it. Otherwise, Mega Ran put me in the mood to listen to Eric B. and Rakim. Just because, God, I am such a sucker for, like, the classic hip hop and rap duo, just like you have a DJ with a couple turntables and an MC, right? You know, like DJ Jazzy Jeff in The Fresh Prince.
Oh, fantastic. We brought it back around.
There you go. Who admittedly I really don't listen to much. Aside from like A Nightmare on My Street, I really don't actually listen to them. But still, they're in that same vein, and it's just such a cool and fun style to me. What a lost art, and I say that knowing that like I'm sure there are people out there who do it.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing you see much, and it makes me sad.
It's not so popular anymore.
It's not the thing you see anymore, and that just makes me sad because it's so cool. But yeah, that's been a majority of my listening lately.
Jeff, what did we learn this week?
What do you mean? What did we learn?
We learned.
I learned a lot about wrestling.
You learned a lot about wrestling. I learned that Jeff is never going to send me a wrestling album again.
I am not.
I learned that you need a thesaurus to make a death metal album.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you kind of do, it seems.
And I learned that Jeff's going to take us home.
I am not going to take you home, Chris.
Jeff, you said you would drive. I've been drinking the whole time.
Oh
You said you drive.
Why are you like this?